Spencer Gallup.
What's happening?
What is happening, my friend? We're watching a lot of football, the real football, while
Stop.
also talking about football. That's what's happening right here.
A lot of football.
There's been so much football on my screen over
And
the last couple of
there's
weeks.
football stuff going on and soccer. So yeah.
There is. There is. And folks out there, we just needed to take some breaks and really just dive
We need
into.
a we need a hydration
We
break.
needed a hydration break for a week, is what we needed. Um, but let's just, before we get into our main topics here today, we definitely have to address an elephant in the room because last week we could have talked about, Brendan Sorsby getting an injunction by a judge
Yep.
and him being able to play college football. And now we've done the complete 180 since then. And he is now going to the supplemental draft. He will not be playing at all for Texas Tech this year. It will more than likely be Will Hammond, who will be the starting quarterback for the Red Raiders this season. And Spencer, this was exactly what needed to happen in the first place because,
Yeah, they tried to get out of it. I mean, like I said, they got the judge and they were gonna get just absolutely bombed all season long if they would have thrown him out there. And Sorsby is a very talented football player, who just had a lot of off-field issues, had gambling issues, and going to go to rehab. And he'll, I think he'll get somebody. I think somebody will end up drafting him in the supplemental draft, and someone will give up their draft pick to get him because he has talent. Um, it's just unfortunate for Texas Tech because they put what is it, $6 million? They gave him a six
yes,
million dollar
like five,
contract
six, it
this
was one
year.
of the biggest deals for like 1 year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate because that kind of derails what I think about them. And while I do think Will Hammond is still a good and serviceable quarterback, I don't think he's not as good as Brendan Sorsby, and I think that kind of takes away what I think could have happened for Texas Tech this year. Still think they're going to be a very good team. Um, but this needed to happen. It like you said, um, there was going to be a lot of repercussions if he ended up playing this season. The fans from other teams would just boo the hell out of Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Not like Texas Tech would care, but like you had athletic directors going out saying we're not going to schedule Texas Tech in future matchups. You had the Big Ten get together about it. The Big 12 could have done something. You had Georgia come out and say they're not going to play any Big 12 teams in any academic sports.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of stuff that happened because of this and the way they handled the situation. And at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do for the integrity of the university. I know that there's no integrity at some colleges across this great nation, including in Ann Arbor. But they have some down there in Texas, and finally, it just took them a while. And I feel bad for Sorsby because this has been a whirlwind of a past couple months. And yes, he did this to himself. It's not like anyone else was doing it for him. He was betting against his own teams at Indiana.
And in Cincinnati a little bit about
And
that was
to be
more other
honest,
stuff, but
as a player at Texas Tech, I don't know how you could trust a captain who bets on your team, especially against your own team.
right.
Like I would have no respect for him, and that's your quarterback, that's your starter. So it had to be done, and I feel bad for the kid. And like I said, he did to himself, but he's going to get a shot in the NFL. I do think some team will give him that. Um, I just think it's going to be, he's not going to come in and he's not going to start for anybody. And he could have came into the draft this year, really, balled out at Texas Tech and been a first round pick. Now you see what teams will give up for him in the supplemental draft, and you see what his market is. You see where he can be a backup or a third string. He still has potential, but he needs to get himself right first. That's the most important part. And he needs to work on himself. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And he will, and he'll get better. Like I said, he's very talented. He just has to work on himself, and he needs to go to rehab and figure out what he wants to do now that he is not going to have another year of college football. And Texas Tech and themselves need to kind of detour. And while Will Hammond. I still think he's a good quarterback. He's not as good as Sorsby. And I think that's going to be kind of I don't want to say detrimental, but that's going to have that's going to take a hit to Texas Tech this season for sure. It's going to be different for them having Will Hammond instead of Brendan Sorsby. So,
I think that you and we have differing opinions when it comes to Brendan Sorsby as a whole because I think he was slightly overrated anyway. I didn't necessarily see what a lot of other people saw in Brendan Sorsby. I didn't think he was miles better than what Baron Morton was at Texas Tech. I mean, yeah, he made Cincinnati be a pretty good football team the last 2 years when he was their starting quarterback, but I don't think he was an absolute world beater of a quarterback, if you will. Still a very good college quarterback nonetheless.
I saw
Um,
keep going. I remembered a stat that I saw from the other day. But you can keep going with what you're saying when you're
so
done.
to me, I already kind of had a little bit of questions about Texas Tech anyway, a little bit more than last year coming in. Of course, it feels like as a program, they've really kind of built themselves up to be this next juggernaut, to be the one real juggernaut, if you will, in the Big 12. I think that there's still other teams out there to watch potentially this year that could make some serious noise, which we will get into in a couple weeks anyway with our Big 12 breakdown. But for Texas Tech, I think this decision really came down to both sides seeing the writing on the wall. And
Yep.
the thing is with Texas Tech, when you're talking about morals, they rode this as long as they possibly could before they took that moral high ground. They were protecting this dude
As
continuously,
much as they could. Yeah.
and they weren't taking the moral high ground at all for the most part until the very end. And you're right. I think a team will take a serious chance on him. It will be as a backup to start. But if you're the New York Jets, right? You have 3 first round picks in 27. If you really really believe that you can get a head start and get the guy that you want already in the building, why not take the chance and maybe be willing to give up a first rounder just so that way you can guarantee you get that guy while still having 2 picks available to go out there and get other elite talent to add to your roster. If I think about it, to me, the Jets would be the team that should make that decision, be willing to give up one of their first round picks to make it happen. But I don't believe that he's really worth a first round pick.
No, he's not
I
going to get
view
a
him
first round pick.
I view him more as like a third round pick for the supplemental
Yep.
draft. I think that would be worthy because how do these NFL franchises really feel about this guy in the situation
Yeah,
with gambling? Like
exactly.
that's one of the biggest no-nos in sports, period. So the fact that
Yep.
a judge already passed this, that's why everyone was like, "Whoa, whoa, like slow it down." And that's where it's like where are we really at in college athletics right now where you can just go to a judge and just whatever. Like it doesn't matter what you do. If Brendan
Yeah.
Sorsby kills somebody, I'm just like, if he kills somebody, could he just go to a judge and say, "Oh well, if you don't let me play, even if I'm in handcuffs and I'm in prison for the rest of my life, you got to let me play on the weekend anyway because if you don't, it's going to affect my mental health." Like what's happening here? Like what's going on with the fact
There's
like
no rules in college football, so it doesn't really matter.
it's absurd where we're at right now where you could gamble on your own team and not face any legitimate repercussion. It'd be
Nope.
different say if he was like a freshman going into his sophomore year, be like, okay, you just can't play next year. Even that I think
No,
would
this
be a
is
little
last
bit
year.
fair. You know what I mean? So it's his last year, and you find all this out. And I saw his agent earlier today. We're recording this into early Thursday morning now, late Wednesday. His agent came out and said, "Oh, Cincinnati knew about this. Why didn't they do anything?"
No, these schools don't care. Like these schools try any means possible to get out of bad situations because they want to win. And winning's the most important part to these schools because winning gains revenue and revenue gains them profits at the university and all that stuff and more NIL funding. Um, but there's no ethics at all in college football. There's no rules. Nobody cares. They just want to win. So that's just where the sport has come. So, real quick, the stat that I saw, Brendan Sorsby, his 2 years at Cincinnati, his touchdown to interception ratio in November was 10-7, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Mhm.
0-8, 0-8 in November.
Yes.
In every other month, so October,
September,
September,
early August,
um,
late August,
early August,
late August. Sorry, man.
35-5, 35 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And I didn't get the win-loss record, but it was pretty good because he wasn't terrible at Cincinnati. But what happens in November, man?
He turns into
do we
Dylan
should we, should
Raiola.
we, should we look should we look into last year as well? Like, should we
He
see if
turns
there was big
into
sums on Sorsby? Because if you think about it, nobody could have bet on. I think sports books would have had to take away Texas Tech props and parlays and all that because how can you feel safe about putting that out there when there's an opportunity that a player is bet on it? And there's the thing, there's players who are going to bet on these college games and are not going to get caught. It's just what happens.
yes.
Um, it's gonna happen. It's it's just sad what it's come to. And like I said, I feel bad for Sorsby. But the Jets, why not at this point? See what the heck happens. I mean, Tyrod Taylor, you're gonna really trot him out there for 17 games this season. Um,
Geno
I would
Smith. Shout
be
out Geno Smith.
or Geno Smith, not Tyrod Taylor. I don't know why I said Tyrod Taylor. But yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks what's happened, but this saga has just been in a roller coaster, and I'm glad it's finally done. So
Since we're going to move on here, I just wanted to briefly talk about that because we could have it would have been maybe the main talking point last week. We had other stuff planned out,
hundred
and
percent.
we could have easily cut it and talked about what is happening right now in college football. Um, but that whole situation is now come and gone. But before we get into everything else today, thank you for watching the Scoop and Score football show here on Ball N Beatz Media. Okay, before we get into everything else here, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, we continuously get more and more subscribers on this YouTube channel. We appreciate the love and appreciate the support. Make sure you follow us on our social media pages as well at Ball N Beatz Media, Instagram, TikTok, and our X. And and make sure you hate DM Spencer's Instagram page about his Detroit Lions. Please do that. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are loving the fact that they're losing every game. They're losing every game.
Yeah, the videos that we're putting out, every single one is we're gonna get on the road at Detroit. We'll win against the Lions at home. So I can't wait for our 5-12 season that Logan's gonna predict for one of the top 5 rosters in all of the NFL.
I mean,
Can't wait. I can't wait for that episode. Or not that episode, that short to come out.
oh, trust me, it might be worse than 5-12. We'll have to see. Um,
Yeah,
it might be. It could be better.
there's
Could be different.
what? Why would we win a game exactly? Like if I told Logan this privately, but if the Saints beat the Lions week 1, I'll just become a Browns fan at this point. Because at that point, the season's over.
Come
It's not
join.
really over, but
Come
it's just fun
join.
to say.
Come join.
Um, I'll be a Browns fan if we lose to the Saints because Logan thinks the Saints are gonna be the next upcoming 2000. Thinks 2009 is back, and
I'm also just
and
realizing.
Drew Brees. Tyler Shuck is Drew Brees. And the Saints that lit the world on fire in 09 and won the Super Bowl are back. So
Yes, yes. I'm just trying to remember real quick. Um, yeah, I forgot. It's been a hot second since we did already talk about the Miles Garrett situation since we're talking about Cleveland
yeah,
Browns.
we
We did talk about that
yeah.
last week, but you should be happily a Jared verse fan after week 1. Okay? You are getting a Jared versus Cleveland Browns jersey. Yes, you are. He's better than Aiden Hutchinson already in his third year.
Stop. Stop.
I'm feeding the
Stop.
delusions that I have to tell myself, okay?
No, he's not.
Let me do that. Since we're on the topic of NFL, you and I have a list, and it is our top 5 players with the most pressure heading
Yep.
into the 2026 NFL season. Do you have an honorable mention? I'm asking because I know I have an honorable mention, and I want to name my honorable mention.
I don't. I
Okay,
just have a top 5. Um, could I think of you know what? I'll think of I could say this guy. I don't know. He has pressure, but he's won accolades, so I don't know if I mean one of my other guys. It'll be Lamar Jackson.
that's fair.
Lamar Jackson with a new coach is going to be different. You know, brand new offense, brand new defense. I do think that Lamar, with his pedigree, he does have pressure, but it's not like a ton because I don't think his division is very good. So I do think he can, win that division. And I think his main thing is winning the Super Bowl, actually just making it, let alone winning it. Lamar Jackson's had pressure on him for a couple years. It's just not been like he's not losing his job. Like Lamar's not in pressure of losing his job.
Right.
That's most of my guys that are on here are except one, number 5 isn't. The others are in risk of losing their job. And I think of pressure as losing your job, not the pressure of winning a Super Bowl. That's my main thing. So
Okay.
I'll put Lamar at honorable mention.
So I'll say this. I think my guys on the list are a blend of all of it, also mixed with maybe there's a lot of expectation on the team this year as well. And it's not necessarily about their job. It's if the fact that will they actually live up to it? Will their play live up to it? Will this it could even include like the overall team aspect to it, but this player's like the main guy, you know what I mean? So will they live up to it? For me, my honorable mention, because I feel like the list is going to be fairly quarterback heavy, I had to include someone who is not a quarterback. I'm going with the New England Patriot left tackle Will Campbell as my honorable mention
Hmm.
because it was a rough rookie year for this kid. And I believe in the talent that he is. I think he's going to be a very good tackle. It was not pretty in the postseason, especially in Super Bowl 60.
Yeah, he was rough.
And the fact that the New England Patriots already went out and added more offensive linemen and more tackles to this squad, he's got a lot of pressure on him in 26 to be the guy that they drafted number 4 overall in 25. And I think, I mean, I think he could easily live up to it, but there's a lot riding on him being that cornerstone left tackle for this Patriots team, and he was
Sure.
not it rookie year.
That's fair.
So I threw him in there as an honorable mention. Spencer, who's your number 5?
Number 5 kind of goes with my honorable mention. He's not in risk of losing his job, but the pressure of him getting older. He's 30 now. He just turned 30, and he doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. He's except winning an MVP, but it's Josh Allen. Um, Josh Allen has pressure of winning playoff games and going to the Super Bowl. The Bills have had rosters of winning double-digit games every single season, year in and year out, but he just can never get over the top. Never. And I think that's my biggest thing is number 5. He's not in risk of losing his job. The top 4 of my guys are the ones who are. Um, but he's 30 years old. He's getting older. So it's starting to catch up, and I think Buffalo's going to have another good season. Um, but at some point, it's like, okay, like we gotta get there. It's been the same thing over and over again, losing the divisional round or losing the AFC Championship. And he just hasn't gotten over that hump yet. And he didn't have to play Kansas City last year and still lost.
Number 5 for me is a similar situation, albeit definitely different because of how things have transpired over the last couple of years for this player, at least, where you acknowledge he's one of the best at his position. his team has kind of let him down in the past, but also his availability has let him down in the past. And it kind of feels like now, this season, the squad has some serious potential. If healthy, if he's healthy in particular, they could win their division and potentially go on a run in the postseason. Number 5 for me is Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow has a lot more pressure, and I think it's a make or break year for him in Cincinnati. It's a potential where he might just want out of Cincinnati, depending on how everything goes this year. But it's also a lot of pressure on him to actually just be healthy, actually
True.
finish a year and go a full 17 games and be on the field and produce for the Bengals. Because we know when he's on the football field what he brings to the table. But you have to be at the table. And you
Yeah.
can't trust the fact that he's going to be at the table all the time. He's not always hungry. He's fasting sometimes.
He's fasting.
He's fasting sometimes. He's not always hungry. And let me word that better because that might say, oh, he's got bad. No, he's got one of the best work ethics out there. He's just always injured. He's never there. He's never playing healthy. He's never healthy after week 6. His calves are falling off the bone. His knee ligaments are just destroyed. His ankles are just, it's like pulling some ribs, the ribs falling off the bone. The meat is just gone. It's dissipated. Joe Burrow, we need you healthy. We need you balling. You're number 5.
Number 4 is a guy who I thought was going to be an absolute stud coming into the league,
Keon
and
Coleman. I know.
he's regressed
No,
a ton. Keon Coleman actually should have been an honorable mention, honestly. But no, I mean he's not on a good team, and I think that's kind of going to be what the caveat for him is he can't be taken off of this team because they're just awful. Um, but Marvin Harrison Jr. had an awful year last year, and he has not
Again.
progressed to the NFL like we thought he would. Like we thought he would. I mean,
Yeah.
coming out of Ohio State, I had more confidence in this dude than any of the Buckeye receivers I've seen come out of Ohio State um, in recent years. This dude was unbelievable in college and unguardable. And he's been the opposite. And, Arizona is a bad team. They have a bad team. Their O line isn't amazing and their offense isn't great. Kyler Murray wasn't good when the last couple years that he was there. Now he's gone. And, their quarterback situation isn't great with Jacoby Brissett. But like he has not gotten going at all. He had drop issues. He hasn't been running his routes like he used to at Ohio State. Maserati Marv has been turning into Miata Marv. This has been tough. Been
Mazda
tough.
Marv.
So
He's Mazda Marv.
yeah, Mazda Marv. Yeah.
He's Mazda Marv.
It's been tough. So yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. I love him, but he definitely has some pressure on him. I know with him being on a bad team, it's not going to be overwhelming.
When
Like
you
if
have
he was
Sid the
on a good
Sloth
team.
throwing you balls this year, it's gonna
Like
be kind
man,
of rough to say.
why doesn't like Buffalo call about him or like
Why wouldn't a
why
good
doesn't
franchise
he
like the
like
Cleveland Browns call about him? Well,
no,
they don't need
settle
him really
that?
necessarily anymore. But pre-draft, I probably would have said so. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, like the Detroit Lions, maybe they need a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr.
I don't need a receiver. That's
Why not?
we have plenty.
He,
We have
he's a good
plenty.
franchise though. It's a good
Amon-Ra,
franchise.
Amon-Ra, J-Mo, and Isaac Tesla.
You
I
know
don't need
what?
him.
Maybe like a Jacksonville. Get him
Yeah, actually, yeah, that would be
with
good. But
BTJ, with
Buffalo
Jacoby
still needs a
Myers.
receiver.
Buffalo does still need a receiver. I mean, they have DJ Moore in front. Actually, forget Khalil Shakir still exists, but they did draft my beloved Skylar Bell. They don't need another wide receiver. Skylar Bell's going to be the next great wide receiver in the NFL. And I don't care what anyone says. That's my opinion because it's actually not my opinion. I know facts, and that's facts. Skylar Bell will be a generational wide receiver. Um, prove me right, Skylar Bell, please. I beg. Um, but you're right. Buffalo still needs another wide receiver. Um, I had Marvin Harrison Jr. on the list last year. I don't have him on this year, although you are correct. That boy is still under a lot of pressure, and he definitely didn't live up to it last year, and he failed. a
Yeah.
lot. But he showed moments still. Like there were still moments where you watched him and it's like if it's just consistent like this
Yeah.
week in and week out, then it's exactly what we expected of him, you know.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me is a team that I thought was going to be a lot better and they started the year very hot last year and got really cold throughout the middle and back half of the season and they have a lot of pressure to win their division. It's a contract year for this guy, a guy who's definitely found a home at this team. And if he does not play that well, potentially this team could be looking for a different quarterback. Potentially. Baker Mayfield, number 4. I think that Tampa has a lot of pressure this year. They really, really need to win the NFC South. And I know a lot of people might say Carolina, even though they just won the division. Atlanta specifically, like there's going to be just a lot of pressure on Kevin Stefanski to get Penix or Tua to ball out in Atlanta to be something right away because they've been nothing but 7-10 over the last 3 years, even though you could say that roster on paper is a top 5 team in the NFL.
Yeah.
But Tampa, to me, has the most pressure out of any team because of the fact of what does happen with Baker after this season.
Yep.
If they do ball out, then I think that answers everything. And Baker proves himself there and gets another at least 3 or 4 year deal with Tampa. But what if it doesn't happen? What if Tampa is still an 8 and
Exactly.
9 or a 7-10 squad? Where do they turn? Does Baker do they just give him another like 1 or 2 year deal just because they don't feel like they can get a better situation? Or with the
Yeah.
draft class potential, we'll just throw out the word potential because you never know, but the potential of the 2027 class, how everything transpires, who knows? Maybe they are like, you know what, we can still get a quarterback and go out and get a Darian Mensa or a CJ Carr or anybody because who knows? You never know. Fernando Mendoza wasn't talked about, so Baker Mayfield number 4, number 3 Spence.
Number 3 is a guy near and dear to my heart. Because I witnessed this guy getting drafted and I was very excited at the time.
Caleb Banks.
And so
Yes.
far,
You got to
this
see Caleb
guy
Banks be drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. That's fantastic.
um so far this guy has not been good. He's actually been pretty bad. That'd be Terry Arnold. Um I obviously wanted Quinyon, and he was taking 2 picks earlier. And of course, Quinyon has turned into he's an all-pro stud corner. And shout out Quinyon, but should have been a Lion. Terry Arnold's been really he has been hurt. That's one. The availability is a big question mark for him.
Yeah.
He holds on to the wide receiver way too many times. He draws himself a lot of penalties of pass interference, and he is a solid man coverage corner, but not great. And he's horrendous at zone. He cannot play zone defense. And the good thing is the Lions play a lot of man cover. But even when he's out there, he gets beat a lot on crossing routes. He gets beat over the top. He slips a lot, and he gets hurt a lot. And he also holds a lot.
Yes.
He has a lot of pressure on him because the Lions are in a window that they have a lot of their young players still under contract. Some of them are gotten their contracts, and the Lions still have a good roster that is young. For an NFL roster, it is young. They are all about their mid 20s. Um, and he needs to step up and be alongside of DJ Reed, who also had a bad year last year. Um, there's a lot of pressure on him in Detroit. The fan base wants him to break out. Brad Holmes wants him to break out, and Dan Campbell has said it before. He needs to be that corner that we need out there. He needs to be that lockdown corner. And if he's not, he's probably, I don't know if he's gone, but he'll probably lose his job. Because there was points last year where Avonte Maddox was taking snaps over Terry Arnold with how bad it got. So, yeah, please, Terrion, shape up this season, please.
Now that you said a defensive player, I just thought of another guy I wanted to mention, and it's in your division. in the same draft. I'm thinking Dallas Turner has a lot of pressure on him up in Minnesota,
Yeah.
specifically with the moves that Minnesota's had to make this offseason. I think it's a big time year for Dallas Turner. He hasn't necessarily been the greatest for them. So I kind of like that thought process there. You went with Terrion Arnold. Number three for me, it's a completely different situation than we've talked about in this scenario here, where he was very good last year in his first year in the NFL, but he's now got a new head coach with a lot of hype around this franchise that's expected to go to the next level, potentially be towards the top of their division, and of course, already being in the Big Apple makes it already a hotbed if you don't play that well. It's Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart for
Yeah.
me has a lot of pressure because the Giants now have a lot of expectation with John Harbaugh coming in, with the pieces they've added to this roster, and now with the fact that who knows with Malik Neighbors. We've already had this conversation on the last episode about Malik Neighbors with the fact that they've added Odell Beckham Jr. and Braxton Berrios and Juju Smith Schuster to this team. How will he play to start the year? And have to rely maybe on a guy like Isaiah Likely, and you still have, of course, Darius Slayton, but and really rely on the running game and Cam Scattaboo, but he was injured and banged up. So I think
Yeah.
Jackson Dart has a lot of pressure that might not be necessarily warranted on him per se. Albeit I think he has a ton of pressure because of the overall hype that this franchise has heading into 26.
That's fair. That is fair. All right. Number two is a player that actually had a decent year last year. Team won the division, but he has been really hot and cold in his NFL career, and he's short. That's Bryce Young. Bryce Young for me is number two. I think, buddy, he has a lot of pressure on him because Carolina hasn't picked up his fifth-year option, and I I think the Carolina Panthers fan base doesn't really trust Bryce Young. I think that they think he had a solid year last year. He had a couple good throws. He had a couple good games. That Rams game in the regular season, he looked really good. But then he would play, awful against the New Orleans Saints. So
Right.
I don't know, man. Bryce Young is very hot and cold. He has not turned out to be the number one pick that he was supposed to. The team won the division last year, and he had a decent year, but he wasn't good by any means. He got some help from Tedoroa McMillan, really taking a step as a really good rookie wide receiver. Um, but yeah, man, Bryce has a ton of pressure on him this year. He has to take that step, and hopefully him and Tedoroa can kind of get that connection this year and take that step for Carolina to, they won the division at 8-9, so someone had to win that division. Let's see if we can get double-digit wins this season.
I like the thought process there with Bryce Young. Number two for me, he's been a proven winner already. He has a Super Bowl ring. However, his number one guy is no longer there. However, the situations have changed. And you could argue that maybe this franchise hasn't always necessarily won because of him. He's just kind of benefited from the team that he's had. And now it feels like there's a lot more pressure on this guy to actually go out there and be the reason why.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. He has an enormous amount of pressure that I would say Howie Roseman is deliberately putting on Jalen Hurts to go out there and prove it himself.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I agree. I think Jalen Hurts should be a player that's on there because, like last season, you saw how awful it was watching Jalen Hurts
He
play
was he
football.
was bad. He
He's
was
he
genuinely
was so
bad.
he was so bad. And he does have a Super Bowl, but it's because his team around him was unbelievable. And Saquon Barkley had one of the great running back seasons we've seen in a while. His wide receivers were really good. Now they lost AJ Brown, replaced him with Mekhi Lemon. We'll see how that works out. Um, But I know I think Jalen Hurts should be on there. I didn't personally have him on there, but I can see why. For me, winning a Super Bowl kind of like takes away a good amount of the pressure because you've already reached the mountaintop once in
Right.
your career. But I can understand why because he's kind of been helped around him, and he's just had a really good team.
Yes,
No, my every single year.
you could argue the fact of he's not necessarily the reason. He just ended up winning it. And yeah, was he good
Yeah.
enough to win it? Of course he was, but he wasn't the main reason why because this overall team is
Yes.
just that good. Um,
Yes.
I think Jalen Hurts, man, I know Philadelphia fans are like, come on now, brother. Let's see some more here. And I know I
Yeah.
hear it. I have one of my dad's best friends, ironically, an Eagles fan. I know he's wanting a little bit more out of Jalen Hurts this year. So
It's fair.
number one,
All right. Number one, the player with the most amount of pressure heading
Dylan
into this
Gabriel.
NFL season,
Dylan Gabriel.
Miles Garrett.
Dylan, honestly, Miles Garrett probably has a
You
little
could
bit
put
more
Miles
pressure.
Garrett on there just because of everything that happened, but I'm not
Yes.
going to because he's gonna be fine.
He might
He's
get
gonna get
40
16
sacks.
sacks at least.
Might get
Yeah,
40.
he's gonna be fine. Number one's a player that was supposed to be this team's savior and has really had a rough time adjusting to the NFL, to be completely honest. Has had flashes of being good and then flashes of being atrocious. I mean, some of the worst plays I've seen. And I love seeing it because I don't like this player and I don't like the team he's on. And it's just a coup de grace of how good it feels knowing this dude is bad in the NFL for this season because he's caused me a lot of pain. Number one, the player with the most amount of pressure coming into
Oh,
this season, in my opinion, is JJ McCarthy.
okay. That's
I don't
different than I
I
thought.
think JJ McCarthy to me, he has been awful since he's came to the NFL. His first year, he sat out the whole season because of injuries. And he learned behind he got to sit a year and he got to learn behind Sam Darnold, who turned out to be pretty good. Got himself a nice contract, got himself a Super Bowl. So good for Sam Darnold. And then last season started a couple games, had a really good game at Chicago, and then absolutely crapped the bed against Atlanta in week 2. Went back on the injured list, came back, won at Detroit because the dude wins in Michigan, and I won't ever see the Lions beat JJ McCarthy for as long as I live. It doesn't matter what team he's on.
I
He will
guarantee
beat
you
my
it
team.
probably, yeah, I was going to say it won't be the Vikings anytime soon, long term.
No. But and also he's probably going to, if not already lost his job to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, who this isn't Kyler from 2021. This is not good Kyler. This is bad Kyler. And Minnesota, it's like you can say what you want about Jalen Hurts. He had a team around him. He did what he had to do. Minnesota's got a pretty damn good roster. It's not like they're a bunch of bums. They have a decent O-line. They have one of the best wide receiver cores in the league. They have one of the best tight ends in the league. And their defense with Brian Flores is pretty damn good. They blitz a lot, but it works.
Yeah.
And JJ, they can't score with him. They can't move the ball with him. He was drafted. They traded up to get this pick, and he could not throw the ball to save his life. He is not good. And there's a ton of pressure on him because you are a high draft pick in the NFL. You were supposed to learn for a year, be hurt, and then last year you were terrible. And now in your third year in the NFL, you are in risk of losing to a player who can't see over his offensive line. There's a lot of issues here. And while I don't like JJ McCarthy, I do think that there's something to be said about he has to adjust. He has to learn whether he's got to read the defense better. He's got to put more touch on his passes. It's got to be something because he has one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Justin Jefferson might be the best. He has a very good wide receiver too, in Jordan Addison. His running game isn't great. They don't have a great running game with Aaron Jones, but not terrible. and a tight end of TJ Hawkinson, who is one of the best. He's still a very good, serviceable tight end, very good at blocking and very good at catching overthrown passes. Saw him in Detroit for years before they traded him. JJ's been awful, though. He's shown flashes. I'll give him some credit. He's shown flashes. He did against the Lions, and he did against Chicago last year. But other than that, he was awful. He was awful. And you were supposed to be stepping in. You are under Kevin O'Connell, who is the quarterback whisperer, and it has not worked out at all. It just hasn't. And I think this year, if JJ doesn't even play, like if Kyler legit takes his job, just ship him out. Trade him for a draft pick because he needs a change. He might need a change of scenery at this point with how bad it's getting. If he starts and it's bad again, I don't think he's a Viking by the end of the year, to be honest with you.
Potentially.
I think Kyler's going to take his job. So number one for me is it's got to be JJ because you have one of the best rosters, you have one of the best coaches, and you are still playing awful. So
You're absolutely right about JJ McCarthy. The reason why he's not on my list is because I just believe the writing's already there on the wall. And I feel like
fair.
it's almost possibly already gone in that direction where I believe Kyler Murray will be their starting quarterback. And I think JJ McCarthy's already a foot and a half out of 2 feet out the door in Minnesota. So that's why I didn't necessarily include him. But you are still completely right. If he's out there playing and whatnot, there might not be a guy out there who needs to perform better than JJ McCarthy. Except maybe this guy. Because number one for me, everyone knows that this team is a very good team. And they might have maybe the best defense since the Legion of Boom in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, when you get to it,
Yeah.
and you remember watching him as a rookie, he came into the league and just took over.
Yep.
He took over.
Yep.
And ever since, it's like, who even is this guy? Where'd the rookie go? Where'd that rookie play go?
That rookie might be gone, man. I hope it's not, but that rookie might be gone.
This defense for this franchise is good enough to win a Super Bowl on its own. You don't even need to play defense or even play offense. But it's still been that bad. It's still been that bad. And I believe in this guy. Both of us. I'm repping the shirt right now where he played at.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Number one is easily for me, C.J. Stroud, because
That's fair.
Houston should be the favorites in the AFC South again. Should be. Even though they didn't win it. It was the Jaguars last year, which is unfortunate because I think if Houston had great play from CJ Stroud, they still could have won. Because this defense is just that seriously good, that talented. But CJ
Yeah.
Stroud just has not played good the last 2 years. And it is time, Bucko. We need not just you to play as good as you were as a rookie, we need improvement off of that.
Yeah.
And it just continues to get worse and worse. And that game against Pittsburgh, I don't know how they won that game. I don't.
Because Pittsburgh is bad.
I
I
mean,
mean,
Pittsburgh's
it's
bad, but
Aaron
like
Rodgers.
they won that game by like 24 points, and CJ Stroud, all he could do was turn the ball over, and then he followed it up
Because
the next week.
the defense won them again. I mean, again, then they went to New England, and looked awful. So
CJ Stroud, brother,
no, I completely agree. Kind of like your reasoning, but I think Stroud just is a shell of himself now. Kind of your thing with McCarthy. Both these guys played each other in college twice. Oh, sorry, just one time. No, twice. Yeah, they
twice.
did play twice.
Played twice.
21 and 22. It's sad what's happened with Stroud, honestly. CJ Stroud was supposed to be the guy that ends the Ohio State quarterback narrative in the NFL, and he's made it worse. Ever since that rookie year, I don't know what happened. I don't understand what happened to CJ Stroud. Coleridge Bernard, you need to
We love you, by
have
the
a good
way.
season this year.
We
We
love
love
you.
you. One of my favorite Ohio State quarterbacks. The dude couldn't miss. He was about as accurate as they come, and that 2023 Peach Bowl was one of the best single performances I've seen outside of Justin Fields' game against Clemson in 2020. But CJ Stroud was phenomenal in college. The dude was as pro ready as you could get. And it just hasn't worked out. And maybe there's something about the development in Houston. I don't know. Um, with quarterback development.
I feel like that's always been an
Um,
issue for them, really. I mean, Deshaun Watson, before whatever you want to say about Deshaun Watson now, we saw him in Houston. He was arguably a top
yeah,
5 quarterback at the time. But even then, you still had the defense that let him down at the time. You had guys like
yeah,
J.J. Watt at the end of the year when he has a 5,000-yard passing season saying, sorry, we ruined one of your best seasons in your prime because they went 4 and
yep,
12. I just wonder if, for me, when it comes to CJ Stroud, I don't know if it's more of a mental thing, even a little bit. And I think there's certain aspects that you've heard him talk, and you can kind of tell that he allowed, I think, some of the hype around him to kind of get to him a little bit.
yeah,
And I think it got him a little too hot headed and got him, because we know him as he's a very religious guy. He's very
yep.
open about that kind of stuff, and I wonder if it got his ego a little too big. You know what I mean? And he just hasn't necessarily lived
Oh,
up to it since. Um,
I hope not.
I don't know. Maybe the haircut might be a good thing for him. He's gone to the short hair. Maybe we see a completely different CJ Stroud this season than what we've seen the last 2 years. But brother, I love you. I love you. You're one of my favorite Ohio State quarterbacks, like you said. Even though I know he didn't beat Michigan, but his play was of the highest caliber of quarterback we've seen at Ohio State.
Yeah,
But brother, we need you to perform this year. You have the most pressure on you in this
yep.
NFL season. And right now is also a good time if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel or followed us on our Spotify or wherever else you may listen to your podcasts, you should do so. And you should hit the push notification bell if you're on YouTube to stay up to date on all of our new videos. 98% of you, yes, it's actually almost 99% of you who watch
Jeez.
our videos are not subscribed. So we're getting a bunch of
Wow.
new viewers to this channel, and yet you are not subscribing to it. So you might as well subscribe to this YouTube channel right now, please. Please. We would love to continue to put out more content for you guys, and so we would love if you subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you love football, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you love sports, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would appreciate it.
If you love the U.S. and think they're going to win the World Cup, subscribe.
And if you love all of the beautiful fans coming from around the world and embracing stuff like an extra large free refill on your drink because they've never experienced that before, or free chips
Mhm.
and salsa,
Shout,
where
shout out Scotland drinking Boston Dry.
shout out everyone going to a Bucky's and being like, we understand it now. Shout out everybody going to Chili's to get a triple dipper. They
Oh,
understand it now.
oh my gosh! To have a triple dipper for the first time would.
Watching the
Oh
dude
my
eating Cracker Barrel biscuits and gravy, I'm like, brother, that's like not even some of the
gosh!
greatest food, and yet I mean, it's still good, but it's like you don't even understand. I saw a woman
A
eat
late night
Raising
Taco
Cane's without
Bell.
sauce, and she said it was the best seasoned chicken she ever had. I was like, what are you on about? Is
There's
it
no
that bad?
seasoning on it.
Exactly. It's
There's no
like
seasoning on
it's
the
like if
chicken.
that's what you think, you literally are like missing out on 99% of the greatest foods you've ever put in your mouth still. So
Don't want to hear any more bad mouthing from Europeans about our country ever again.
they understand why the obesity epidemic is a massive
Hey,
issue in the
we got
United
great
States of
food.
America.
We got great food. I
We
mean,
don't have we
they
have
need to
great
experience
tasting food. Let's just get this up. It's great tasting food. It
great
is
tasting.
a lot of chemicals and a lot of stuff that's banned over there. So we understand, why we are the way we are, okay? But we
They need to
know that it's
experience a late night Taco Bell run.
if you want the
It'll change
dopamine.
your life. And Waffle House. Waffle House.
Shout out Freddie. I've been a big time follower of Freddie on Twitter, the German man himself, and the Germans out there enjoying the once in a lifetime experience that even 99% of Americans haven't been able to get at this point because that dude has blown up on Twitter. He owns Twitter right now. Um, Shout out to everyone over here watching this World Cup. supporting their countries. It's been fun to watch, I'm not going to lie. I've been really enjoying seeing other
I
people
agree.
come over here and we all embrace each other. That's what this country needs. That's what everybody needs. Is more embracing of each other. We're all different, but that's what makes us special. And you know what else makes us special is the fact that at least here in this country, we get to talk about Mountain West football. Okay? We get to
Mhm.
talk about the beloved conference of the Mountain West. We've discussed every other G5 conference except the last two big ones. And we're starting today with the second to biggest one, the Mountain West, of course. A totally different conference than what it used to be now at this point. It's a shell of
Yep.
itself, if you will. But it's still going to be very entertaining because it's the Mountain West and it always brings entertainment. You have the Great Mountains of DeKalb, Illinois coming. You have the Fargo Dome joining. And you actually have probably one of the greatest venues, anyway, that you could get in college football, regardless of how many people actually show up to games for them in the Sun Bowl in the University of Texas, El Paso,
Facts.
joining the Mountain
One of my
West. And of
natty.
course, you have all the state schools known to man except what's the one state school that stayed? I'm tripping. San Jose State. They're still there. They're still in the Mountain West, but all the other state schools said we're leaving you. We're leaving you out to dry boat. Like I said, we also had North Dakota State join, so we still have two state schools left. They might be the next ones to the Pac-12. Watch out for San Jose State and North Dakota State to leave for the Pac-12 just because they have state in their name.
It's just a feeder conference anyway. So yeah.
Spencer, who's finishing last in this conference this year?
NIU. Screw you guys for breaking up the friends and family conference of the Mid American Conference. Who leaves the MAC, man? I mean, like, the MAC is the best. There's nothing better than the Mid American Conference.
There literally isn't.
And you left to go to the Mountain West, which you can say what you want. It's a better move. It's a lateral move. I don't care. You broke up my favorite conference. Screw you. You're at 10. I don't even care if they had the projected best team. They are 10. They are 10. But if you want me to give you some reasons, instead of just spite because this team, screwed up with my favorite conference. They lost a lot of defenders last season. They started 19 and only 3 are back this season. Now, they brought in some defensive guys from the Division II level. Jacob McGee, Matthias Smith Davis, Aaron Warren, Justin Harris. They brought in some guys who can help out, but they have a lot of guys, especially that defense, that are going to need some help. They
Yes.
are returning a lot of wide receivers though, which is something that's interesting. 5 of their last top 6 pass catchers are coming back this season, so they're going to be good at the receiver level. But
Will they have a quarterback to get
they
them the
lost.
ball?
Exactly. They had 7 linemen start games last season and only 2 return this year. I legitimately NIU will be one of the worst teams in the Mountain West, and they went 3-9 in the MAC last year. So, I mean, if you think this is a better conference, get ready. It's going to be a rough season for NIU in their first year in the Mountain West.
For me, in dead last is the exact same school. It is Northern Illinois, and it is for football reasons as well, not just out of spite. NIU heading into this year, I mean, it already didn't help the fact that their coach left for the NFL for a position job in Coach Hammock back in, I think,
Yep.
February or March. So they have a interim
Yeah.
head coach
Rob Harley.
and Rob Harley being their head coach. They lost a ton of talent on this roster overall in the grand scheme of things because of the move. And so, and like you said, really, if you think about NIU as a program, basically everything went downhill after beating Notre Dame. They have
That seems like a while ago,
they have
wasn't it?
not been the same team since beating
It's
Notre
so
Dame.
crazy that happened.
The second they beat them,
They were
everything else
one.
went
They
downhill.
were one win away from being the transitive national championship
Yes,
or
they were.
national champions.
Yes, they were. And they've
If it wasn't
never
for
been the
Will
same.
Hammond, or if it wasn't for Will Howard and friends, they would have.
Northern
So
Illinois,
yeah,
it will be a rough one.
trash. You guys suck. You broke up the Mid American Conference. Go away.
You broke my
Don't
heart,
ever.
NIU.
Exactly. Who leaves the MAC?
No one
Marshall.
does.
We don't talk about
Central Florida,
Marshall and Central
Temple.
Florida. Those teams. Who
In
cares?
about 3 or 4 years,
And
maybe our own school we
and
graduated
when
from.
Toledo leaves for the American in a couple years, we won't talk. I'll be mad at Toledo. I'll be mad at Toledo.
I'll be mad at
No, I won't.
Ohio when they go to the Sun Belt, and I'll be mad at Miami of Ohio when they also randomly go somewhere else too because of history reasons. But other than that, we won't be upset when Akron or Kent State or Buffalo have to leave to the FCS because they can't afford to stay at the FBS level anymore. We won't be upset about that though. But NIU,
Yeah.
you're a disgrace.
At number 9, I have a team that in my dynasty won the 2029 and the 2030 national championships in the UTEP Miners.
Okay.
Scotty Walden's their head coach. It's his third year. He's 5-19 overall. Been a rough year, or been a rough start for him. Their offense was actually pretty decent last year. The problem is they lost everybody.
Yes, they did lose everybody. They lost them all.
Their entire offense is essentially gone. They're trying to
Yes.
replace an entire offense. They added EJ Colson from Incarnate Word.
Dog, by the way.
They added Lamar Sperling from Buffalo, Tavorius Jones from Missouri, Carver Cheeks from Northern Colorado, Royal Capel from
Some say
Oklahoma
he might
State.
be cheeks at playing football too.
Yeah.
But you're
Their
forgetting a
defense.
beloved guy. You're forgetting a guy, and I'm going to bring up his name when I get to the UTEP Miners, and that's okay.
They're bringing back a couple of guys on defense: Ashton Coker, Jaden Wilson, Justin Content, Code Low. But they still lost a lot, and it's gonna be a rough year for UTEP. And like I said,
It's always
they
a rough
they,
year
they
for UTEP.
they didn't have a good year last year,
It's
so
always a rough year.
it's gonna be tough for the Miners. The Miners don't always get the help.
The Miners don't always get the help. They never do. But the
I'm
Sun Bowl
not
is
gonna say
such a
that.
the Sun
I'm not
Belt.
gonna say that
The
because
Sun Bowl.
David's gonna clip it.
The Sun Bowl is one of the greatest venues in college
Amazing.
football. You could
It was
literally
rocking in
see.
2029 and 2030. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you, like
It's rocking.
we got to make it down to the Sun Bowl at some point because that place is just exceptional. You can see Mexico from there. Come on now,
That's
like you
right
got to
next to Mexico.
you
We'll
gotta
just cross the border. It's
you've
pretty
got
easy.
to
No.
you've got that's crazy. You've got to make it to the Sun Bowl if you're a college football fan because that place, old
Yeah.
school, even was popping. I mean, they hold what 55, 60,000.
It's a big. I mean, it's a
Massive.
decently sized stadium.
That
They
is a
just have the
cathedral.
I don't know what to
The
call it, like
tarp.
a
They have the tarp.
barrier,
They have like the
a tarp.
tarps.
Yeah, that says UTEP Miners. They have a tarp on there, but it's a pretty decently sized stadium, and the backdrop's pretty. You got the mount, like you got like it's what you expect from El Paso. It's like the mountains, the old west, cactuses everywhere. It's great. Don't worry, I won you guys a couple natties in a couple years. You just gotta wait.
A cathedral of college football is the Sun Bowl.
Okay.
Number 9 for me is a team who last year, I think you and we didn't do a preview like this, but we probably would have been higher on this team last year, and they did not live up to it because Walker Eget was not that great. But now he's Duke's quarterback, so it doesn't matter. San Jose State is number 9 for me. They have a lot of turnover this year. It's a full reset of this roster for former Navy head coach Ken Niumatalolo. Look at that. I got to get an applause for
Good
that.
job.
Ken
Good job.
Niumatalolo. Okay. That's all that really matters. But it's a full reset again for this team. They have 3 quarterbacks battling it out for the starting job. Redshirt senior Luke Weaver, redshirt freshman Robert McDaniel, and true freshman Daniel Rolovich. If you know the last name, you would understand who he is. He is the son of former Hawaii and Washington State head coach Nick Rolovich, who obviously was famous for certain things in certain time frames and not being a coach anymore because of it. And he is battling to be the starting head coach at San Jose State, starting head quarterback, his son. Um, yeah, I don't trust San Jose State a lot this season. I do trust the head coach to eventually right this ship eventually. Uh, but I'm not a believer in the Spartans.
Number 8, don't really got to say much. San Jose State for the exact same reasons Logan just gave. So don't kind of took all the words away from me. So yeah, Spartans at 8 for my list.
Number 8 for me. The UTEP Miners. I actually have them just
Just a
ahead.
little switch. Just a
Just a
little
little
switch.
switch. I actually really like EJ Colson a lot. He's a guy who I remember, if I can remember correctly, I believe he was at UCF before Incarnate Word. If you want to look that up, I'm pretty certain I'm correct in that. I think he was really good at Incarnate Word. If people want to go and watch his tape, I do want to throw out this name. I don't know if he will really play for them, and it's unfortunate that he didn't necessarily play at his previous stop. But I have to bring up this name because he actually is a little bit near and dear to
You would be
me.
right. He was at UCF.
Okay, I thought so. Running back Lamar Sperling, Buffalo transfer, high school football in Ohio, Mr. Ohio football, happened to lose to the high school that I did go to in the state championship.
The guy out of Akron, right?
Kid out of Akron
Omar
Hoban,
Sperling.
Lamar
Yeah.
Sperling, arguably the greatest running back. And here's the thing: in Ohio high school football, there's been a lot of good running backs out there. I don't know if there's been one better than this cat. If this dude can actually be something for UTEP, their running game will be exceptional. If he can pan out to be what he was in high school, he never necessarily got that real opportunity at Buffalo. I will say, he is a shorter kid, so it makes sense. But that dude was so talented in high school, and if he could get any of that now at UTEP, it would be fun to watch. Although they still have other running backs there that'll be just fine for UTEP as well. But I believe in EJ Colson's play to make them potentially be a little bit better. And I do like me some of their head coach in Scotty Walden. I think he's going to be a decent guy. So I trust UTEP to be a little bit better this season. Regardless, it's still going to be too tough for them to really compete in this conference.
At number 7, I have the Nevada Wolfpack. Jeff, is it Choate? Is that how you say his last name?
I think so. I
Jeff
don't know
Choate.
that. I don't know that one yet. I haven't written it down.
His offense was decent last year. Their special teams were awful. But the team, they collapsed down the stretch. They lost their offensive coordinator and they lost a lot of their key transfer players. They got better, at the beginning of the year they were decent, and then they kind of just started to slow down. Their defensive front's still going to be strong. They got Dylan LaBarbera. I hope that's how you say his name. Who's still there? They got a transfer from Sacramento State and James Gillespie. But their secondary, it's gonna be rough. They have a lot of They have another group of technically group 5 transfers coming in to help them out. But they had a lot of transfers leave this school, so it's gonna be a rough year for the Wolfpack.
Number 7 for me. Drum roll, please. It is also the Nevada Wolfpack.
Bang!
Honestly, I think this defense could be one of the better units in the conference and can make them a sneaky team to watch, but this offense might be a little rough. Now they do have Carter Jones returning as their starting quarterback this year, and you would say maybe his supporting cast wasn't all that good last year. If the supporting cast is better in 2026, maybe Nevada does take a jump in this conference, and there is a lot of potential there for that to happen with all the change in this conference. But I think if they do go out there and make a bit of a run potentially as a dark horse team, it would be because of the defense and the names you've already named. So I don't necessarily see it happening, but it's a team to watch. I think Nevada's maybe one of the 2 dark horses to watch in this conference in 26?
At number 6, I have the Wyoming Cowboys. Um, Ever since Jay Sawville took over, the offense has been really bad. He was their
Yes.
defensive coordinator when Craig Bull retired, and he was a solid defensive coordinator and the right move to just promote from within and make him the guy. But the offense hasn't been good. They've only topped 21 points 7 times in 2 seasons. That's
Two.
not very good.
No, it's not.
But the defense has been pretty decent for them.
Yes.
That never went away, but the offense has been rough.
The running game's
They
been
got a
fine. It's
credit.
really been about that passing game. That passing, they've not been able to pass the
Yeah,
ball to save their life ever since really Josh Allen was there, to be honest. They've relied heavily on the run
yeah.
game.
Their running backs, they have Samuel Harris,
Yep.
Dior Hubbard,
Yep.
and they're
Transfer.
bringing in Markel Holman from Western Illinois. Um, for the quarterback spot, the one that Logan talked about, it's been rough. Either Tyler Hughes, the William and Mary transfer, or a redshirt freshman Mason Drew, who's a solid dual threat guy.
Probably
Um,
Tyler Hughes, if I had to
I think
guess.
they're going to be. I'm putting him, at 6, just because I think their defense is solid and their offense has to be better. I mean, this offense has been awful, and I think that. I mean, they can't just keep doing this. They can't. 7 times you've only scored 21 points in 2 seasons. That's rough. I think Wyoming's going to be better this season. I think the offense is going to be a little bit better. I mean, it's 6, so they're going to be middle of the pack, but their defense is solid, and we'll see what Swivel can do in year 3
Number six for
or
me.
Swaville.
Number six for me is Air Force, the Falcons. I think with Air Force, the real issue that we have here is the defense. Because this offense might be, you could argue, potentially the best offense in the conference this season and might be one of the better offenses that Troy Calhoun has ever had while the head coach out there in Colorado Springs. Liam Zarka, when he came in, granted, last year they did not end the year great. They did not have a great record. I think they finished the year 4-8. I don't have it written down. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was 4-8. But when he came in at quarterback, this offense was completely different last year. And you saw how good this team could really be. This defense is atrocious. Um, Air Force will need to score a lot. If this defense can just slightly improve, I would have Air Force much higher on my list potentially. But I just cannot trust this defense. Air Force will need to score 56 and hope the other team doesn't get 57.
For the exact same reasons, I have Air Force at 5. So I don't really have to say much. Defense is awful. Offense good. That's
Yes.
all you got to know.
Yes. Number 5 for me, I wonder who it could be. What a rhyme. It's Wyoming. Hey, the Cowboys at number 5. And I have it pretty much the similar situation that you said. This running game will be pretty good. I have them written down there. Samuel Harris, Markel Holman, the Western Illinois guy. Shout out the Leathernecks of Western Illinois. And Dior Hubbard will be a big catapult for this offense. If they could just slightly pass the ball, if they could get to like 2,500 yards passing or more, Wyoming
Mhm.
could be a legit player in this conference this year. They just rely heavily on this defense.
Yeah.
But you can always trust Wyoming to at least not be the worst team in a conference. You could almost always trust them to not be a bottom 2 or a bottom 3 team in the Mountain West. And I do feel like with all the moves, I think Wyoming will be able to be a better team. They're one of my other 2 dark horses, Nevada and Wyoming. Those are the 2 teams that I circle as true dark horses to be potential fight for the conference championship if they really wanted to out of all of these awful teams. I shouldn't say awful. They're mid teams now. Shout out the Cowboys. One of the best, probably the best end zones in college football, by the way.
Yeah.
Has to be the best end zones,
And
right?
the cowboy is the statue.
It's
They have the
fantastic.
cowboy statue.
Shout out Laramie, Wyoming. It's actually got a
Shout
little
out
bit of
Larry.
pull from my family too. Shout out Laramie, Wyoming. There's a little family history out there in Laramie, Wyoming for me. So
At number 4, I have the newly appointed North Dakota State Bison. Um, North Dakota State, I don't really got to say much of how good they've been. They've won 10 of the last 15 national titles in the FCS. They've ran it since 2011. It seems like they've always had a fantastic team. Winning 10 national championships in 15 years is just utter
remarkable. Yeah.
insanity. But they've done it. Um, my main question for North Dakota State is they had a phenomenal. They might have had one of their best teams ever last year with Cole Payton, Bryce Lance. I mean, that team was unbelievable, and they lost to Illinois State at home. But they were outscoring teams 42.2 to 11.7. I mean, they were just utterly spanking teams, just in and out. But this team's still going to be good this year. My main question is going to be about their quarterback in Nathan Hayes. He's a fifth-year starter. He's been a career backup essentially, but he should be decent.
He's gotten
Barika
some play time.
Kapinu,
Yeah.
yeah. They lost Barika Kapinu last year, who had 20 touchdowns, but they have DJ Scott and Cortez LeGrant to kind of take over the reins there. Tim Polasek has done a phenomenal job at North Dakota State, kind of just keeping the tradition going of, North Dakota State being very good. They added guys like DJ Volts from Saginaw Valley State and EJ Davis from Wayne State, Nebraska. Their defense is going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
But my main question is just going to be that offense. It's going to be, and obviously it does. I think there is something to be adjusting to the FBS level. There is something there. I mean, Missouri State and Delaware went 7-6 last year in their first years, and that's a success. But NDSU, I think they'll be very good this year. In their first year, 7-8 wins probably. And man, if they would have brought the team from last year in this year to the
They could have
FBS,
arguably won the
they
conference.
probably would have won the conference. So
Number 4 is also the North Dakota State University Bison for me. And you really nailed it on the head. This team will compete right away. 100% compete right away in this conference. They're too good of a program to not do. I mean,
to
we've
not.
watched them beat programs like Iowa in Iowa City. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Over their history. They're just going to be good right away. They already compete against schools of the caliber in the Mountain West in the FCS and do very well. So I think this program is primed and ready right away to be a success. You could argue maybe quicker than some of the other schools like a James Madison who's been very good right away. They could be up to that level anyway, like James Madison. Of course, my beloved Cole Payton is no longer there, but like you said, it's Nathan Hayes, fifth-year guy. I would expect a high floor, low ceiling from a guy who has been a career backup. He's been in the system, he understands it. How good can he really be is maybe the question there. They did lose, of course, Bryce Lance, also Rajon Nelson to graduation at wide receiver, but they've added guys from the Big 12 out of Arizona and Jeremiah Patterson and Jordan McCants from West Virginia to that wide receiver room. Could expect them to be some big playmakers there. You're returning DJ Scott at running back. So there's still a lot to like, and of course, the offensive line is going to be good for North Dakota State, no matter who you throw out there. You're talking Great Plains corn-fed boys right there. It don't matter who it is. North Dakota State's offensive line will be good. Shout out the Bison. Shout out the Fargo Dome. Sadly, won't be in college football 27, which is such a shame that the Fargo Dome won't be
It
in the video.
won't?
It is not in the video game, but they will be playing in a dome nonetheless. But it's not the Fargo Dome. It's a shame.
Why?
I don't know. Probably something about naming rights and certain things
That's
that they would.
terrible. Then
It
what the
might be
heck's
in.
the
It might
point?
be in 28, but I know it might not happen in. It's not might. It's
There's
not
no
happening
point.
in 27. There's no point in
There's no.
rebuilding the Bison in 27 if you want to play in the Fargo Dome
No,
again.
I not doing it anymore.
I'm actually pretty certain Sacramento State Stadium's technically not in the game either because I
terrible.
I, I think what happened was it happened too quick, kind of thing. So
I guess. At number 3, I have UNLV. Um, UNLV under Dan Mullen, obviously, he went 10-4 last year. Dan Mullen did a great job
yes,
in his first year at UNLV. You know, the offense was absolutely fantastic. They put up a ton of points. My main thing is they're basically their entire receiving core.
yes,
They're getting a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold,
which is
and he was a
exactly the reason why they should. Yeah,
but my whole
let you
thing,
finish.
every time I watched Jackson Arnold, he was bad. Every time I watched Jackson Arnold, he would run into sacks constantly. He was frantic in the pocket, and he did not look good. And maybe it's different in the Mountain West than it is in the SEC. Um, I just, I, I think he'll be decent, but like, I don't think he's gonna be like resurrected, resurrection career. I just don't see it.
No,
Um, they do return their star running back, in Thomas,
I,
so
I-
that'll
I'm
be
gonna
good.
I'm gonna
He
talk
had
about that
12
boy.
he had 1,200 yards from scrimmage last season, and that's going to be big for them. But their defense is also really bad. Their defense isn't very good. They had 19 defenders with 200 plus snaps last year, and only 6 are returning,
Yep.
and 4 in the secondary. And Mullins only added 1 defensive line transfer, and that's Herb Gray from Tennessee. This defense was 89th in defensive SP plus last year. They weren't good. And even if they get slightly better, this offense is going to have to carry them like they did last year. I just don't see it with Jackson Arnold. Don't really have a ton of confidence in him. I've seen him play. He's not good under pressure. He's not good when the pocket collapses. He runs into sacks constantly. I just don't see it. But Dan Mullins is a damn good head coach. So we'll see. But I have UNLV at 3.
Number 3 for me is the team that I predicted to make the college football playoff last year. It is the Running Rebels of UNLV as well.
Oh my goodness.
And it is literally because of Jackson Arnold being the quarterback. If Anthony Calandria was still here, I'd probably put UNLV at
Number
number
1.
1. Um,
Yep.
but I got to talk to you about Jaden Jet Thomas, brother. Jaden Jet Thomas is easily the best group of 5 G6 running back. And it's not particularly close. In fact, he's probably a top anywhere from a top 10 to a top 15 draft prospect at running back. I love this kid a lot. When I drop my prospect stuff, he's in my top 15 at that position for 100%. He is disgusting. Um, I love that kid a lot. I think he'll be very good eventually on Sundays. Um, but like you said, defense blows chunks. But it's Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen will always be consistent as long as he's there before he eventually goes somewhere else, potentially because of how good he's been at UNLV right away. Um, it's all about Jackson Arnold, man. It's all about Jackson Arnold. Is he bad or is he better than what he's been? And if he's better than what he's been, UNLV can finish better than third place in the Mountain West just because of how good UNLV is, period, right now. But time will tell. Time will tell. Number 2.
Number 2 for me is the team that really has skyrocketed the past couple years, New Mexico. The New Mexico Lobos are number 2. Jason Eck, honestly, he should have been up for Coach of the Year last year. This team was absolutely phenomenal and was screwed out of a Mountain West title game appearance because of a weird
Their
4
tiebreaker
team
situation
tie.
is the
Yeah,
worst thing known to man.
nobody knows.
So
It's
bad.
weird, like Illuminati
They
stuff. They
just tell the
basically wanted
computer. They just tell the computer just put in Boise State. It don't matter. Just have
Yep,
them play.
and then UNLV because why not? Jason Eck from Idaho and last year, absolutely phenomenal season with the Lobos. They went 9 and
Yes.
4. basically a Big Sky all-star team.
Yes,
With
that's
how good
exactly
they
what they
were.
are, man. Yes.
Jack Lane, Damon Bankston, Keyshawn James Newby, they were phenomenal last year. They went from 3-3 to 9-3. They won their last 6 regular season games and then a stupid 4-way tie that nobody knows what happened.
Yes.
Um, Eck is going to be a guy who's going to get a job.
Oh,
He's going
yes.
to get a big time job, maybe even at the end of this year, to be completely honest with you. Because I still think this team's going to be very, very good. I wouldn't be shocked if they won the Mountain West. There's one team that I like a little bit more. But they're bringing back. They have the second best returning production in the group of 6. They have 4
Yeah.
starting linemen returning.
Yeah.
Um, they have a ton of transfers. Kiefer
Yeah.
Sibley, Troy Amori, Miles Williams. They did really well for themselves. And, their defense was pretty decent last year as well. Um, I just, I fully believe in Eck to lead this team to the Mountain West title game. They're deep at tackle and safety. They just have players everywhere, and they returned a ton of their talent because Eck just brought them all back. And New Mexico, who's had a dead program for forever, has some life. They have a lot of life, and they won last year at UCLA, which was really cool. They beat a Big Ten team. So I'm hoping all the best for New Mexico. There's one team I like better than them. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if New Mexico won because they do have a damn good team. And I wouldn't be mad either because it's really cool to see FCS guys jumping and making an impact right away. Um, so, yeah, I have New Mexico number 2.
Number 2 for me is the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii. The question that I have about Hawaii, more than anything, is just overall depth past their starters. I question that. I don't know how good they are all around. If a guy goes down and gets injured, how good will they be? Well, Micah Alihado.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
love what you've seen out of Micah Alihado, or however you say his last name. That's one I still don't know fully yet. I think I'm right there. He showed a lot of promise last year. Timmy Chang's got this program hot right now. The Rainbow Warriors are out there playing island ball because they're island boys. The Rainbow Warriors are going to be a fun team to watch this year. I really like their chances of making the Mountain West title game. We haven't seen it in a while where Hawaii has been truly one of the best teams. Of course, you had Cole McDonald have a little bit more flair out there in Hawaii. But obviously, everyone remembers Colt Brennan, rest in peace, the legend himself.
Mm-hmm.
Those days at Hawaii were always great. Mike Alihado might be the reason why Hawaii could potentially win the Mountain West this year. I'm not going to go out fully and say that myself because I have faith in another program just a little bit more. But I do think Hawaii is. I will say this, though, about Hawaii. I have one more thing to add about them. I do think there is some serious, serious potential of disaster class here. Potentially. They could fall flat on their face simply because of what I've said about depth. I have a concern there. But, but, they still should be a serious contender here for this conference. Shout out the Rainbow Warriors.
Well, that sucks because no one's going to get hurt playing island ball. The number 1 team in the Mountain West is the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, and don't let anyone else tell you different. Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex will be hosting a playoff game this season.
Oh,
Watch out for that 2 a.m. kickoff out there on the islands, baby. I don't care. Let's go, Hawaii. Micah is going to be Colt Brennan 2.0. This guy is slinging the rock all over the place. Phenomenal redshirt first year last year. He's fun to watch. And how could you not love Hawaii? It is Hawaii. You can't hate Hawaii. And to give you some like legitimate reasons, Timmy Chang has done a really good job. They haven't had amazing years in past, but they took a big step forward last year. In 24, they went 5-7, and they went 9-4 this past year. They are dealing with a good amount of turnover, but they brought in a ton of transfers. And Micah Elahado, I think that's how you say it. Phenomenal year. And this might be his last year at Hawaii if things go really well. He'll get a
Potentially, yeah.
decent chunk of money somewhere else, unless he wants to keep playing island ball. Who would not want to play in Hawaii? Dude? I mean, seriously.
Right.
But yes, their biggest question mark is their depth. They have good starters. They brought in a lot of transfers to be starters. But if they get a couple injuries, the season's going to go off the rails, and that's going to be their biggest issue. I'm going off the fact that they're going to have minimal injuries, that they're going to be healthy, and I don't care, man. We are speaking it into existence of Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex hosting a playoff game in the college football playoffs. We will have Alabama at Hawaii at 2 a.m., baby. Let's go. And Micah Alahado is
8,000.
going to sling it all over that Crimson Tide
I would
defense,
love to
baby.
see 8,000 Crimson Tide fans on vacation in Hawaii because there ain't going to be a single Rainbow Warrior fan to be able to be in attendance for that
I
one.
will be there. I will be there cheering on my Rainbow Warriors. I
And you'll
don't
also be
care.
enjoying the pure bliss of Hawaii.
Even if Hawaii loses, I'm in Hawaii. Like,
Life can't be
I
that bad,
can't
right?
lose.
All
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah, number one's Hawaii. Let's go Rainbow Warriors,
Let's be
baby.
so serious, though. Okay. Actually, I will say this. I have on my notes. This is what I have for my number one team on my notes. It's 3 words. Oh yeah, baby. Who would want to be in Hawaii when you could just be in Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The number one team in the Mountain West, the New Mexico Lobos. Jason Eck. If you okay, I'm gonna put this out here. If the New Mexico Lobos make the college football playoff, I will get a tattoo on my thigh of Jason Eck. No, I'm
Hey,
just
man.
kidding. We're gonna erase that from history. Don't do not do that. But seriously though, New Mexico is, I mean, what Jason Eck's done in, like you said, a short time with an FCS program. I mean, it's all Idaho Vandals or Weber State players, and they're just out here just
Balling out.
mollywopping. They had their first sellout at New Mexico Stadium since 2007, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been earlier than that. I saw, I think Jason X said that. Yeah, it was the first sellout they've had in a long time. Their attendance has gone up by like 10,000 people. They're selling out,
University.
and I think people are forgetting about New Mexico and just their overall athletics because people forget how good the basketball program is. I think some people out there don't always, if they don't pay attention to college basketball, don't know the history about New
Yeah,
Mexico
they've
basketball.
had a they've had a good program
They've
for a
won
while.
national titles. They've been very good out
Yeah.
there in New Mexico. The Pit's one
They
of the
normally
more
make the tournament.
the Pit's
They
one
were
of
an
the best
11 seed
atmospheres.
like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even back in the 90s and 80s, playing for titles and playing in Final Fours and whatnot. But this football program hasn't always been that. I think there's a legit case for this year to circle New Mexico as one of those G5 teams to make the playoff. I am fully bought in on the fact that they are one of the 5 or 6 programs I'm circling to make the playoff in
They only
2026.
have one built-in loss. And even then, maybe they can give Oklahoma a run for their money.
You never know. You never know. Will Oklahoma be what they were? Or
New Mexico
New
plays at Hawaii this year
Mexico? Maybe
in
that's the real
October
BNB Bowl.
in Hawaii at Honolulu.
The BNB Bowl is really New Mexico at Hawaii. And honestly, I think there's no other game we should be at that week. No other game we
Facts.
should be at that week, in my opinion. Um, But Jack Lane is back for the Lobos. Of course, Damon Bankson is back at running back. Keyshawn James Newby, Jackson Eck.
My one question is Jack Lane really that good? I mean,
That is a fair question. I will
he's
say
not. He didn't have a great year last year.
it wasn't great, but you would
He threw
expect
for a
him.
decent amount of yards,
You
but
would
didn't
expect
have an amazing year.
improvement. He definitely was not Devon Dampier. Good. But Jack
No.
Lane is still serviceable. And I think if he takes the next step this year, then this team is really dangerous. Um, but you have to trust Jason Ekball. You just have to, man, because you just know eventually he will be like Arizona State's head coach when Kenny Dillingham finally gets paid an offer he can't refuse to finally leave his team. Or he's gonna be Jason Eck's gonna
X
be a
gonna be
he's such a Big 12 head coach eventually. You know, you just feel it. Just one of those opportunities, or even maybe a bigger program than that. Even like a if somehow Lincoln Riley goes 2-10 at USC this season, and Jason Eck, I bet he gets a call for that job. He might not get the job, but I bet he gets a call from USC just because of
yeah.
how close he is in that area. Um, he's that good of a coach. He is probably my favorite G5 coach right now. What a dude. What a program builder that guy is. He did it at Idaho. Idaho was not good after going back from the FBS down to FCS. He took them to the playoffs. In fact,
hmm
if I can remember correctly, I'm pretty certain he was still a head coach at the D2 level as well, and I think he did. I could be mistaking him with another head coach I'm thinking of, but I'm pretty certain he did very well at the D2 level, um, in similar ways. He builds programs. He's a program builder, and he's really embraced the underdog levels of New Mexico because they have not been this good in a hot sec. Like I
Nope.
don't remember in my lifetime New Mexico being as good as they have been with him. So you've really had to embrace that underdog mentality, and that's one of his best attributes is him being able to embrace the underdog mentality and really brew that in the program and have them believe in themselves. And that's one thing I really love about him. He's going to be an exceptional coach. He will not be here long, sadly, and I hope New Mexico can
Nope.
continue after him, um, because Jason Eck's going to be a serious name to watch. Like you said, it could be as early as this year, maybe not this year, maybe the following year, but he'll get a big job eventually. And the Lobos, how could you, brother? I know we talk about Rainbow Warriors, but like, it's a Lobo. Lobos. Like that's a great name, great nickname. It's
That is a
Lobos.
great name.
And here's the thing: is like spam sushi really better than green chilies than a green chili burger? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Debatable. Yeah.
Now, that's no hate on Hawaiian food. I bet it's probably much better than some people want to say it is. I think Mexico food got to be better, right? Like it's basically,
Football maybe or the food may be better, but the football isn't.
but
Catch beating Hawaii. Sorry.
I think
Sorry,
I think
buddy.
you're wrong, man. I think you're wrong, but that's okay. It's okay to agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Shout out the Lobos and shout out Albuquerque, Albuquerque.
A hotbed of college football.
It is. It is actually. Oddly enough,
Now it is.
it is a hotbed now, but oddly enough, I feel like Albuquerque is like one of those big cities that no one ever talks about,
Mm-hmm.
but you only hear
It's a
about it.
decent sized city.
It's actually pretty big. Like it's a
Yeah.
pretty big city, and no one talks about how big it is. It's huge, as some would say.
It's the biggest.
It's the biggest, the
It's the biggest.
largest. Um,
It's the biggest. The largest.
New Mexico, man, New Mexico. I need to try some green chilies at some point in my life. We're gonna make our way out to New Mexico as well. We're gonna go for the
Facts.
New Mexico Bowl to watch Toledo lose to Air Force or Nevada one of these years because they can't win on the West Coast to save their life. So we already know Sacramento State's a fill in when we get to that point later on in this
Yeah.
football season. But That's okay. Mountain West is done. We only have one G5 conference left. And of course, it is best for last when we get to it next week. Spencer, any final thoughts?
Hawaii's winning the national championship.
You're delusional. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Scoop and Score Football Show, brought to you by Ball N Beatz Media. Thank you for listening all the way through. And if you are here at this point, you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do so. Follow us as well on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you may get your podcasts. Follow us on our social media pages as well, on TikTok, Instagram, and X, all at Ball N Beatz Media with a Z.
Z.
For Spencer, I am Logan, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take
Peace
care
out.
and peace.